So, the reason I wanted to get on Twitch was because I thought, why do you never see anybody reading any articles? Why do you only see people sitting in hot tubs or playing video games? I just thought that this platform could be used to really make people think differently about academia. Not just the idea that, like, it costs too much and that it needs to be reformed or anything like that, but my interests lie at sort of understanding the articles themselves, because they can be pretty confusing just to read them. I'm going to pull up an article for you. And this article, I'll show you the title, On Obsessive and Harmonious Passion. I've already done a little bit of reading on it, but I actually found this article because my professor, my advisor, he sent me this about the costs and benefits of gaming. So I was reading a little bit of it, and then it talked about passion, and how passion can be broken into two different categories. And it was referencing this article here from Valorand et al., from the University of Montreal, and they're saying that there's two different types of passion. There is harmonious passion and obsessive passion. And I'm going to try to find a nice little passage for you on what the two differences are from that. Actually, I'm going to pull up my notes here, because I think I got a pretty good idea in terms of capturing it in my own words. So they first describe passion as being a strong inclination toward a self-defining activity that an individual likes, finds important, and which he or she invests a significant amount of time and energy. So that's passion, pretty straightforward. But there's two different types. Harmonious passion is when you're willingly engaging in an activity. You have a sense of volition. I am willingly doing this, and I want to do it. This little piece of quote right here. They're not compelled to do the activity, but they freely choose to do so. And obsessive is the opposite of that. It's this compulsion you feel to do it because of certain social or psychological pressures. Like, my friends are going to be really disappointed if I don't do the thing they want me to do. So you might feel like pressured into doing something. So this relates to, in my mind, video games, especially for me. What I used to do every single day is I would wake up and I would start playing video games. That's just what I would do. And then the whole day just sort of devolved from there. I would start playing video games, and then the day pretty much ended with me playing video games. So in instances like that, I would call what I was doing an obsessive passion. It became a mundane, routine sort of thing for me. The other thing that I thought was important to mention from this article, which I'll just pull you up my notes, because it's a lot to sort of take in if you have to do it all on your own. Well, actually, Word's freaking out on me now, so I gotta pull it up again. Let's see here. Notes for thesis. Here we go. So yeah, the idea of my thesis, I could tell you that too, probably in another video, but I just thought, why not talk about this article in sort of all its depth, all its subtlety, everything like that. So, after you've done the activity, after completion of the activity, what happens? What are you feeling? So if you have an obsessive passion, you would go into an activity, you do the activity, and then when you're done doing it, you'd think, wow, I shouldn't have done that. I feel bad. I feel ashamed. I feel guilty. I feel certain things like that. But if you have harmonious passion, it means that that passion is in harmony with other things in your life. So that's really the crucial difference there. When things are in harmony with your life, after you complete the activity, you don't feel bad for doing it. You're like, I feel good because I was in control the whole time. I didn't feel a compulsion to do it. So, also the other thing is, like, if you can't do the activity that you want to do at that present moment, if for some reason you just can't do it, like you have to work, you have to go to school, there's other obligations you have to attend to. If you have an obsessive passion, you might be thinking about that thing even when you're not doing that thing, and you'll crave that thing. And that actually, interestingly enough, brings us to another article about gaming addiction, which I thought was really important. Let me bring it up here. Where is it? Here. Yeah, it's right here, the highlighted one. So, this was talking about video game addicts. Their parents, because these are just, they're 9 people, single male, average age of 20.5, ranging from 16 to 26. So they're all guys. They were brought in by their parents, I'm pretty sure. 7 were who required treatment because of their problems in use of MMOs, like World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy, Guild Wars. Trying to find where it says that, like, none of them had an underlying condition. So, like, if drug use was wrapped up in whatever their addiction to video games would be, that would make more sense. So yeah, circle of coexistence, the person who takes the initiative for treatment, mother, 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 another addiction center, parents, mother, mother, mother. So a lot of the times, what this is saying is, like, if they take the game away from you, you'll think about the game and you'll be even more affected by the game. So let me try to find more notes here for that. Another thing I thought was kind of interesting is what they were saying is that the more you play a game like an MMO, like World of Warcraft, you're just grinding. The more you play, the better you get. You know, like, but their logic was that if you play a first-person shooter game, that you're either good or you're bad. And I contend with that point of view. Because I think the longer you play a first-person shooter, the more you hone your reflexes, the better you get, but there's more of a learning curve. It's not like you're fighting, in an FPS, you're fighting against people who are of a higher skill level than you. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe they're a lower skill level than you. But if you're doing well, you're doing well. But in an MMO, it's kind of hard to say, are you doing well or not, because you're just on an upward curve in terms of advancement. You can just go out in the woods and kill wild boars and level up that way. The more you play, the better you get, just mathematically, the more experience you accrue. And there's lots of other games like that, but MMOs are sort of based on that belief. Let me take a sip of my smoothie here. That's good stuff. All right. So, what they would say, the reason this related to the other article I was reading is because they're craving the game when they're not playing it. Sorry about that. One person mentions, while working, I just thought of getting out of work and go home to play. I started to get depressed and play more. Some people crave the game. They feel nervous. They dream about the game. They get restless. And I'll actually share something with the person who is watching and whoever might be watching in the future. But the game that I have actually dreamt about is this one, Rust. It's a game that I think I've actually played that game more than any other game. Let me pull up my library here. Let's see. Let me go to Rust on the left-hand side. 1,500 games. Or 1,500 hours, I'm sorry. So it's been a while that I've been playing this game, and I don't know when I actually downloaded the game. I'll have to see if I can find where that is. But the reason I bring all this up is because I played this game more than any other game. So is it an obsession? Not anymore. Because I stopped playing this game because I just felt really guilty playing it. In case you're unfamiliar with the idea of what Rust is, you're all stuck on an island together, so there's a limited amount of resources. There's underground train tunnels they just added a couple months ago. The next update, they do a monthly update every month, they do an update. And this month, August 5th, they do it every Thursday, is when that's when they're going to update the game, and you have to go here and update the game. So, I don't think it's an obsession for me anymore. Like, I think I used to be obsessed with this game, and I still like playing it, but I transitioned from a PvP, player versus player server, to a PvE server, player versus environment. So, in that server, the latter server, you could not damage other players, you couldn't raid other bases. So it really does change the whole conception of how the game is to be played. But 1,500 hours, there are people who have 5,000, 10,000 hours, and you have to wonder, this is the thing I wonder, they have 10,000 hours. How long did it take them to accrue those hours? Did it take them a year? Did it take them 2 years? Did it take them 5 years, 10 years? How long have they been playing the game? How long has Rust been out? Another good question. Rust. It used to be called Rust Legacy. God, I wish I could type. Rust Legacy. It's a game from 2013 and 14. This is an old version of Rust. So it's been around for almost a decade now. So it could be possible that people have been playing for a decade. So someone could have 10k hours and they've been playing ever since the game came out. Let's just say it's been 10 years. 10,000 hours divided by 10, that's only 1,000 hours every year. You know, so like, how many hours are in a year? Do we need to do the math here? Hi, Stanley. It's my cat. How many hours in a year? So there's 24 hours in a day, and there's 365 days in a year. So it's about 8,760 hours in a day. So, losing my train of thought here. So, why does this matter? I think this matters because this is a whole year worth of gaming. So 1,000 hours out of the 8,760, it's only 11% of your time in a year spent playing the game. That's not bad, you know? If you think of all the stuff you can do in your life in a whole day, that means that you'll only spend about 10% of your day playing Rust. So, about 2.5 hours. So this number, hi Stanley. So this number times 24. You're spending roughly 2.739 hours playing the game. Well, that's all fine and dandy, but that's not how long people normally play the video game, especially a game like Rust. I know a streamer, his name's Spoon Kid, and his streams will be for like 12 hours. You know, so let's actually, let's see if we can go back to Twitch. How do I do this? Alright, back to Twitch, here we go. So if we go to Twitch, let's go to Spoon Kid's channel, right here. He's got the spoon on his face. And we'll see his streams here. It tells you how many views they are. We'll look at his videos. So look, 6 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours. I've known his streams to go for 12 hours, you know, because he's 14 hours of Rust, you know, it's 14 hours of Rust again. So not all of them are like that, but it really does beg the question. Is this an obsessive passion or a harmonious one? This is a question I want every gamer to ask themselves, guy or girl, old or young. What type of game do you play? Is your gaming an obsession, or is it in harmony with all the other things going on in your life? I would really like it if we could all live in a world where we didn't feel like we had to play video games obsessively. The reason I bring all this up, and I know it seems like, what does this have to do with the article you were reading? And the reason I bring it all up is because when prevented from doing it, I think I already mentioned that, behavioral persistence. This is the key. It's a big differentiator. In harmonious passion, the person doing the activity will continue to do it, maybe forever, as long as the benefits outweigh the costs of doing it. So if you're a teacher, if you really have a passion for teaching, or taking care of animals or whatever, then it might be a lifelong passion for you. But if it's an obsessive passion, you'll do it even when you shouldn't be doing it. You have homework to do. You have readings to do. Stuff to write. Articles to read. Very much the position I'm in right now. Excuse me. There are times where I want to be gaming, but I have to ask myself, do I want this? Or is this just an obsession that I have? Can I make video games a harmonious passion? That's the question. So, I don't know. Maybe. What does it take? Does it take cutting off hours? Does it take, like, I'm only going to play for an hour, 2 hours a day, and then I'm done? I think I've even thought streaming could be good for gamers, to where they're held accountable by their viewers to be like, you promised us you were only going to play 2.5 hours, or 3 hours. And I know that might be kind of naive, it might be kind of, you know, an oversimplification. Call it what you want to call it. But I do believe that it can be done. But I think a really important thing, too, when you're dealing with things like addiction, what do you see typically a lot of the time? Support groups. You'll see people coming together to talk about their addictions in a place that they know is safe and that they won't feel judged for doing so. I'd really like to bring that community into the internet. And I know it's naive, and I know it's very far-fetched, and it's probably not going to happen, but it definitely won't happen if I didn't think it could be possible. If I just said to myself, there is no point of even trying, then it'll never happen. How could it happen if I never try? So I hopped on Twitch today, did a little article reading, and halfway through my article, it clicked. It clicked with me. I had my epiphany. I was like, people need to hear this. And I know it might sound a little arrogant to think that people need to hear it, but you hear about people who are addicted to gaming all the time. The core idea of my thesis is that what do people say when they lose? And what I've started to notice is that there's, it's not like predictable, but there's a channel on YouTube. I'll actually try to pull it up for you here. Gamer Rage compilation. And you can see, just from me typing it in there, there's a lot of stuff going on here. This channel here, Plasma Storm, I actually, I subscribe to it. I'm not logged in right now, so it doesn't say I'm subscribed. But this is really important to me because there are so many instances of people freaking out and breaking stuff when they lose. Or just saying things, if they're not breaking something, just saying things when they do lose that might revolve around things like, it's not my fault that I lost, or just insulting the person who beat you. But I also really like this channel because he, or she, breaks it down into certain YouTubers. So like Minilad, Terrorizer, where is it? Did I see FaZe Jeff on here? Wildcat, Big Jiggly Panda. Some of these people I've never heard of. FaZe Jeff, here he is. A lot I haven't heard of, but it's not always just this. The compilations based off of the YouTubers themselves, or the Twitch streamers themselves. Some are just more general compilations. But I'm very interested in this whole idea because it's almost normalized. The idea that when you're playing a video game and you lose, you just go into this hissy fit, basically. You'll break something around you, you'll bang on the table, you'll insult, you'll rage quit, just F this game, I'm not playing anymore. So, here we go. This is where you're really getting into the nitty-gritty of part. It's insane. It's insane. There's like 70 parts to this. If I can, I could probably go back to the channel and find it elsewhere. Look under videos is another place to find it, but yeah, he or she, they're still uploading. Part 72. These are 20-minute videos, and I've watched some of them, and I'm pretty sure they're repeats. But more to the point is that when people lose, there's a certain thing that they say. They'll always say something, or maybe they say nothing. But when they lose, what are they doing? How do they react to losing? That's the idea of my thesis. That's what I'm interested in. Because you go back, you look at cinema from way back in the day, you look at Disney films, and people were flabbergasted. They looked at Disney films, they watched them, and they're like, how is it that we're watching these movies of drawings, just drawings and sound and whatever, and we're feeling things like love, we're feeling happy, we're feeling sad, we're feeling angry. How are these affections possible because we're watching a movie? A movie that doesn't even have any real people in it, mind you. The only people who are in it are the voice actors who are dubbing over these drawings, these pictures. But yet we feel like they're real. So that caused people to feel a certain way about them. My thought process is, people said that it was about Disney films, or any animated films from back in the day. But what about video games? They've become a lot more technologically advanced. They've been around for almost half a century, if you think about it. And now they're really starting to take off. Esports is starting to take off. Twitch streaming, And I think if you're going to be a streamer and people are going to be watching you, your viewers are going to be impressionable. They're going to watch you and they're going to think, I want to be like this person. I don't want to be like this person. So that's why I think it's really important that this research be done. That I examine those instances where people are, they've reached the apex of frustration. And what are they saying? Are they blaming someone else? Are they quitting? Are they insulting? Are they breaking stuff, not saying anything, just breaking stuff? Are they in disbelief? Like, I can't believe that just happened? So, all these things I think are necessary to figure out, why do people play? And what makes them play obsessively? Are they trying to just get better at the game? Or do they do it as a hobby? Do they do it as a lifestyle? It's kind of hard to say. If you're a streamer, and it's your occupation, it's your job, then it's not really something you could qualify as a hobby. You could, but in my instance, I teach archery to people, the bow and arrow. So I think that's a little bit different in terms of passion. Because I'll try to go out and I'll do it every day, but it's not like, oh, I really want to do archery, I really want to do archery, I really want to do it. Like, I'm obsessing about it, like I would about video games. So I think it can be reversed. I think that if video games are an obsessive passion for you, I believe there's hope. I believe that people can come around, and I believe that you can change. That I can change. But I can't do it without you. Without other people holding me accountable. Or without just me holding myself accountable. Let me put it this way. It's easier to hold yourself accountable when other people are depending on you. If you're trying to quit smoking, if you're doing it for your child, for your spouse, for whomever, it's a lot easier. I think it's a lot easier for me to think about video games as a harmonious passion if there are other people like me who are trying to make video games a harmonious passion. Because right now I feel like it's obsessive. And I don't want that to happen. I don't want to be constantly thinking about playing video games when I have other things to be doing with my time, that I should be doing with my time. And I don't want to turn to video games, play them, and then feel bad because I played them. If video games are a harmonious passion for me, it means it's in harmony with everything else in my life. I can do my schoolwork, write my thesis, do the things I need to do, and still do the things I want to do. The only thing is, I need to start off my day being productive, not by just jumping right into video games, because it's a vicious cycle. I start playing video games, and then the rest of the day just devolves into that. So, I'm probably going to end it here. Had a nice little talk. It didn't do as much reading as I really wanted to. It was just sort of like hashing out my thoughts, but I thought if I put this on YouTube, maybe people will listen to it. Maybe. I know it's a stretch, especially the algorithm and all that, but thanks for the people who did show up. I'm just going to stop the recording here.